Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alaina G. Levine. I'm president of Quantum Success Solutions and author of Networking for Nerds, which just came out this summer. And it is my delight and honor today to present this webinar on identifying and seizing value from conference participation. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because it's amazing how much you can get out of attending and engaging and actively participating in conferences and meetings of any kind, whether it's 2 people that are attending or 26,000. And so what we're going to be talking to you about today is all the different tips and tactics and strategies that can really up your game, up your career game, up your ability to find opportunities, to build opportunities for yourself and your colleagues, and to advance your own career goals as well as the goals of the organization for which you work. Whether you are a student, a postdoc, beyond the postdoc, 5 years in, 10 years in, 45 years in, there's always information and value that you can get from participating actively in a conference, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So before I begin, I just want to first of all thank the AIP Career Network, and you see all the organizations down there below. These are the groups that you belong to, that you should belong to if you're not a member of, and these are the organizations that really make an impact in developing information and supporting these, researching information and reporting on information, and then supporting these types of professional development opportunities for scientists and engineers like yourselves. So please make sure that you thank them. So I thank the AIP Career Network for this opportunity. A couple of quick housekeeping issues about this webinar. This is being recorded, so you will have a chance to review this later, and I'm going to send you an email letting you know where it's going to be posted and when. You can ask questions throughout the webinar, and I'll be answering them at the end, as well as a part of a Physics Today career column that I write. I'll be doing a companion article to this webinar. So if you have other questions that we don't get a chance to answer today, I'll be putting those in the article. But you can ask questions throughout the workshop via just listing them out, writing them out in the question panel of your webinar console. And if for some reason you don't see or hear the slides, if you don't hear me, maybe you don't hear the slides, but if you don't hear me or see the slides, simply just log out and log back in and try going back and forth between your telephone or your voice over internet mic and speakers. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. This is so great. Going to a conference in just a few weeks, I myself have to remind myself what I can get out of that conference and how I can actively participate in that conference and give to that conference. So this is a really good opportunity for me too to remind myself. So today what we're going to be talking about is how to identify goals for attending the conference, creating a plan. In other words, what do we do before, during, and after the actual meeting? How do we prepare for it? How do we execute that plan professionally? Tips for being successful at the conference, and then of course following up. Because if you go to a conference and then never speak to those people ever again, that is a waste of time. We want to make sure that you get the most out of it and that the other people at the conference who you're engaging get a lot out of it as well. So you have to follow up. Remember, when you meet people at a conference, that very first time, they are going to be, this is the first time that you're engaging them, and they want to get as much out of that interaction with you as much as you want to get out of that interaction as well. So this is important. All right. Now, why have a goal at all? Well, the thing is that, as you know, with anything that you do in your life, goals help you to focus and clarify what it is that you want to do. So the goals for attending the conference, any conference, will determine your course of action before, during, and after the conference. Remember, you have precious little time at this conference, this meeting. You know, there are some conferences like the APS March meeting, they last 5 days. There are other conferences that last 7 days, including conferences that have pre-conference and post-conference events. And then there are conferences that last 2 days. There are some conferences or workshops, smaller workshops, that last only a day. So you can imagine if that's your time constraint, that's a very small period of time, so you really have to optimize yourself while you're there. Excuse me just 1 second while I cough. I'm going to mute myself so you don't have to hear me coughing in your ear. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for that. Okay, so we're going to identify our goals. So why are we attending this conference? Why bother? Okay, so certainly yes, if it's in Hawaii, we want to go to Hawaii. That's not the number one reason why you'd go to the conference, of course. The most important reason that you want to go to the conference, any conference, is to network. And networking, since you know me and you know I'm a huge networking supporter, I love networking. I think networking should be done even more. Optimized networking should be done even more than it's being done already. You know that networking is not just me meeting you and chatting with you, it's actually building a mutually beneficial relationship with you that exists over time and delivers value to both of us over time. And all of these things that you see in front of you, all of these goals are actually related to networking. So when you're deciding whether you should attend a conference and you start thinking, okay, I've made my decision, I'm going to attend this conference, but why am I actually attending? Networking should be at the top of your list. But there's going to be other reasons you're going to be attending too, right? I mean, maybe you're presenting a paper or a poster or a talk, or maybe there's a meeting, a sub-meeting associated with that conference that you have to make sure you're visible and make sure you are showing yourself to be a hard worker in. You will need a job at some point, even if you don't need one right now. So you need to be able to network and interact with people so you can find a job and learn about your field and other fields and learn about opportunities for career growth, and access industry trends and decision makers who can give you those opportunities, who can give you information and open the doors to career opportunities. You also want to gain professional skills, especially from speaking and from writing and from interacting with people, committee service and volunteering. You learn a lot of skills and you can gain a lot of skills from going to a conference itself, not to mention finding out what are the important skills that are needed, the technical skills that are needed in this particular field, in this particular career path. If I want to go and join an oil and gas company, what types of technical skills should I be developing right now as a physics student to bolster my chances of entering the oil and gas industry? And you can, and also, as you know, many conferences often have professional development workshops and courses where you can take classes, heavy-duty technical related classes to enhance that skill set that you have. This helps also to amplify your brand, which is your promise of value, as well as your reputation. So by attending a conference and by engaging people, by being an active participant, by networking, by talking with other people, by taking classes, what you're doing is you're shining a spotlight on yourself. You're letting people know what your promise of value is. And of course, your promise of value is simply your promise to deliver excellence, dependability, and expertise in whatever it is that you do. And this is going to be carried to other parties and through your field and through your sector and even beyond via your reputation. So we want people to see you. We want people to see you at this conference. We want you to show up and be active so that people start thinking about you. You become a known quantity in the field. So when opportunities come up, they think, hey, yeah, I definitely want to talk to Justin. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing scientist. I definitely want to talk to him. We have an opportunity in our office. So let's develop our plan, okay? Now, this is the funny part. A lot of people take the scientific program for the conference. They download it onto their iPad or their tablet or their computer, and they read it on the airplane going to the conference. And although I think it's great to review the scientific program on the plane, I think that's a great idea, don't start reading the scientific program like 10 minutes before you land. In fact, I actually encourage you to take a look at the scientific program weeks before, at least a month in advance, because you want to look at it very carefully and see what are the different talks, what are the different sessions, what are the different lines, the different sort of features and different aspects of it, and subjects that are going to be covered that would be of interest to you. And you want to start making a very strategic list of what you want to do. And, a lot of conferences allow you to plan your program, allow you to plan your own schedule online, and then access that online schedule via your phone or your tablet or your computer or whatever. And I think that's a really, really good resource for you, and it's also underutilized. It's interesting to me that as conferences have expanded and more people go to conferences, even in this tough economic time, people are still going to conferences. They are still growth within the conferences, and there are more conferences occurring. that people still do not take advantage of all the resources that the conference itself offers its attendees for networking, for job searching, for skill development, for all of those things that we just saw on the slide before this. And so one of those things that you can take advantage of and really leverage is the conference, the online conference schedule, and making your own private schedule that you can work off of. So definitely take a look at that. But even if there's not one like that, even if they don't have an online schedule that you can build yourself, look at the scientific program and start thinking about who would you like to speak with, who would you be interested in, what talks would you be interested in going to. So we're going to be identifying scientific talks as well as posters, right? We want to go through the poster collection very carefully and see what posters might be of interest to us. We also want to identify and register for special events. This is the meat and potatoes, or for those of you like me who are vegetarians, this is the tofu and the seitan of the conference events. The conference is great for the scientific talks, the posters, but really the meat, the tofu of the conference, where you can get the most bang for your buck and the best protein for your brain, is at all the other special events that the conference hosts, because this is where you really get a chance to network with people, and it's a little bit more informal than the formality of the talks. So go to career events. When they have career events at these conferences, whether it's how to network, how to build a career plan, how to negotiate, whatever it is, or panels, go to these career events so you can be apprised as to how you can build your career and advance your career. Go to the meet and greets. Go to the town halls. Here is a tip, especially for those of you that are early in your career. There are a lot of conferences that host town halls. They may not call it a town hall, but there's one conference that I go to that has a town hall with all of the different multiple town halls, and each town hall is focused on a different program or a different organization that is very prestigious within this community, within the scientific community, a different institution. And so the institution, let's say it's Los Alamos National Lab, the institution of Los Alamos will have a town hall at this conference where people can come to the town hall. Representatives from Los Alamos will be there to discuss their strategic plan, to discuss their activities, their events, what's happening at Los Alamos, even opportunities. And then people will have the chance, who are attending the town hall, to ask questions of the Los Alamos representatives. That's just an example, by the way. And this is so great because you really get a chance to understand what's happening. We use the Los Alamos case study. We get a chance to really understand what's happening at Los Alamos right now, and we get a chance to meet the people that are making those decisions, the high-level leaders as well as the mid-level leaders who have decision-making ability and authority to bring in new talent. And the thing is that most early career professionals across the board, it doesn't matter what area of science or engineering or non-nerd areas you happen to be in, don't go to town halls. They feel intimidated. Or they think, why would this Dr. God, this person who the whole field, sort of orbits around, why would Dr. God want to hear from me? Or, there's going to be all these Dr. Gods at this town hall, and I feel intimidated going to talk to them. Or there's not going to be anything there for me as an early career professional because they're going to be talking about higher level strategy, high level strategic plans associated with the institute or the organization. And that's erroneous thinking. The town halls are amazing. They are meant to provide information to people at all levels in their career, including students, including early career professionals, all the way up to senior and seasoned professionals. They are meant to encourage people to want to learn more, to engage the organization that's hosting the town hall. So I can't overemphasize the importance of going to a town hall. And then what happens is usually after the formal talk or the formal discussion about the insight and information and updates about that organization or institution, then there's usually a meet and greet, a networking reception with the people who attended the town hall. So wouldn't it be a great opportunity for you, if you were early career, to go to the Los Alamos Town Hall, again, a case study example. You've listened to the speakers from Los Alamos talking about their strategic plan for the next 5 years, and they're talking about how they're really interested in materials science, and they're really interested in atomic science, and they're really interested in optics. And you are interested in all those areas, and maybe you are a postdoc right now, or maybe you're a student, and you go up to Dr. God of Los Alamos and say, you know what, that was really great. I'm so glad you were able to share that information about the strategic plan. My background is in material science. I'd love to learn more about what you're working on. Maybe I can assist you. And boom, you've created an opportunity for yourself. It may not lead to a job today or tomorrow, but you've proven to that seasoned professional, that Dr. God, that you have gumption, that you have guts, and that you're enthusiastic, and that you're professional, and you're creative. And most people would not have the guts to go up to that person, and that's what I know you have. Remember, as scientists and engineers, you are the most brave people on the planet. You're the gutsiest heroes I know. Why? Because you chose to study the hardest subjects known to man and womankind. You chose to study science and engineering. This is not to be taken lightly. So we want to recognize that you are brilliant, that you are gutsy, you are heroes, and you have bravery to be able to go up to people at town halls and throughout the conference and introduce yourself, okay? And they recognize that. When these Dr. Gods interact with you, they recognize, wow, this younger person or this early career person had the guts to come up to talk to me. I want to learn more about them. So this is just one thing that you can identify and register at one special event that you can register for at a conference and look for. And then also for those of you that are still early career, look for early career centered events like networking events and mixers and things of that nature so that you get a chance to meet your peers and you get a chance to meet other people as well. Now you also want to build into your plan time to mosey through the exhibit hall or the trade show, the career fair if there is one, or the job center, and the poster farm. So let's just take a look at those really quickly for a moment. The exhibit hall and the trade show, what you would like to do, the best course of action is when you're reading the program, almost every conference, about a month in advance, maybe even more, will list out who the exhibitors are. They'll even usually have a map of who those exhibitors are. So you want to take a look and start making lists of who are the exhibitors that you want to interact with. And the same thing goes for a career fair. If there is one at that conference, take a look and see what are your primary, secondary, and tertiary companies or organizations that you would like to meet when you go to that trade show, that exhibit hall, or that career fair, and make a list. And that'll be part of your plan to actually go to those primary, secondary, and tertiary booths on the exhibit hall floor or the career center floor or the career fair floor so that you can actually start interacting with them. And then the poster farm is the same thing. I want you to think about what are the posters that you want to attend, when are they going to be given, and build that into your schedule. So we're going to map out, with the exhibitors, we're going to map out actually where we're going to visit and who we're going to visit and who we're going to visit first and second and third. And we're also going to, and this is really important, a lot of people don't think to do this, they tend to attend conferences in a very sort of passive way. You know, that's why they read the scientific program on the airplane going, or the night before, or they read it when they actually are handed the paper copy of it, and that's the first time they look at it. But what really is useful for you is if you read the scientific program and the whole website about a month or so in advance, you can start identifying the key people that you want to meet. And these could include speakers, they could include board members of these professional societies, because believe me, all the board members, all the staff are going to be at these conferences. So if you want to interact with any of them, any of the committee chairs, this is the time to do it. Same thing with exhibitors, recruiters, and even just attendees. And I'm going to get to the attendee part in a moment. But as you're looking at the scientific program, if you see that Dr. Levine is going to be giving a talk, you know, reach out to Dr. Levine. Send me an email and say, dear Dr. Levine, I see you're giving a talk on, the physics of showers and bathtubs. I'm really interested in how water interacts with copper, and ceramic tile, and I'd love to meet with you and talk to you about it. I'm going to be attending your talk, and maybe I can take you out for a cup of coffee as well. So reach out to individuals who you know are going to be speaking and attending this meeting, and ask for meetings. Ask to meet with them in advance, and that's why you want to do it about a month in advance, because people's schedules get filled up so quickly. And this is another reason why you want to do this early, and another reason why you want to ask for a coffee meeting is because, a board member of APS or a board member of IEEE Computer Society, they're not necessarily going to have the time to spend 4 hours with you or even an hour for lunch. It would be great if you could take them out for lunch, or even a speaker that you see that you're really interested in perhaps working with. It'd be great if you could reach out to her and say, can I take you out to lunch? But quite frankly, if they are very well into their career, they probably already have their own schedule packed. So they can't necessarily schedule in a 1-hour lunch or dinner with you. However, almost always they have time for a 15-minute coffee appointment. So, and even if it's not 15 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. So this is what you do, is you email these people in advance and you ask, is it possible for us to meet for coffee while we're at this conference together? And be specific. Maybe we can meet for 15 minutes, just for a 15-minute coffee appointment. This is fantastic because people can usually squeeze in that 15 minutes. And it gives you time, just in case you want to go over. What you should do is you schedule the 15 minutes with them, but you give yourself about 45 minutes. Because if they start talking, and you know how this goes, once people start talking about themselves, they don't shut up. If they start talking, they may go over that 15 minutes, and this is great for you because you get more information and you really get a chance to learn a little bit more about them. And so you don't want to organize your schedule in such a way where you have coffee with Dr. Levine from 8 to 8:15, coffee with Dr. Stewart from 8:15 to 8:30, and then coffee with Dr. Feldman from 8:30 to 8:45, because if our appointment runs over, you're going to miss those other coffee appointments. So here's the tactic. You make an appointment for 15 minutes once an hour or once every 45 minutes, so that if it does run over, you still have the flexibility to be able to handle that, and you also have time to get to your next appointment or get to the next talk. And this is really important. People don't think to do that. So this is a really good tactic. So in addition to the people that are listed in the program, the speakers, the board members, the exhibitors, and recruiters, and so on and so forth, you can also reach out to people in the community, right? So if you know that there's a physicist who you haven't seen that she is going to be speaking at this conference, but you know that she is very prominent in AAPT, and she's really interested in teaching, particularly with, tablets, you can email her and say, I'm very interested in teaching as well. Will you be attending this conference? I'm going to be speaking, or I don't know if you're going to be speaking, but I'd love to take you out for a cup of coffee if we're both going to be at this conference. And that's something that you can do. And I do that a lot. Even if I don't see the person's name on the speaking list, I will reach out to somebody in the field and say, will you be attending this meeting? Maybe we can meet for a cup of coffee. Again, these things where you reach out to people and ask for coffee appointments, ask for meetings, this is shining a spotlight on your gumption. It's shining a spotlight on your guts, that you have the guts to stand up and say, I'm really interested in this. I'd like to learn from you. I'd like to make this appointment with you. Most people don't feel comfortable doing that. When you do it, it gives you a competitive advantage, and it shows the other person how brave you are and how strong you are and how confident you are. And these are characteristics that employers and colleagues and collaborators look for all the time. So the other thing you want to do is you want to keep your schedule handy. Now, if the conference has a meeting app, definitely download that. Again, don't download that on the airplane or in the hotel room the night before. Download it a couple weeks before. And if they don't have a conference app, that's fine, but just keep that schedule handy. And what I like to do for myself is I actually make a daily schedule for myself every day. And I'm a paper and pencil kind of gal, so I actually will write out what my schedule is, and I'll put it into my, not my day planner, but I'll put it into my name tag folder, which you're actually going to see in a moment. So I have that handy with me every day. So I still use the meeting app on my phone or on my tablet as I'm walking through the convention hall, if it's available. If not, I keep a copy of the program. It's almost always online, so I can always go online to look at the program, and then I make my own schedule that I keep in handy dandy on paper every day. And then finally, what I want you to do as you develop your plan is update your resume or CV and then upload it to the Career Center or the Job Center. That's going to be part of the hosted part of the conference. Almost every conference has a Career Center where you can upload your resume and also where you can go and look for jobs that are advertised. So this is a great way to find out who's hiring, what are the job issues that's happening right now, the hiring trends, and also to get yourself known. And if you think that when you're uploading your resume to a conference career center, if you think that that is just putting it into a black hole, I can tell you from experience, from a real true story, that that is not the case. That it could potentially be seen by very important and very engaged and very motivated recruiters and decision makers. You know, the career centers associated with your professional societies, they are there specifically because they're meeting your needs as somebody who wants to advance in your career in your area, in your subject, right? And so what happens is that recruiters and decision makers and organizations and hiring managers and HR reps know that the talent is there, right? They know that if I want to hire a physicist, I'm going to go to the APS Physics site and I'm going to look for resumes and CVs that have been uploaded there because that's where the talent is located. That's where I can very quickly look through and see if I can find somebody that I'm interested in bringing in, inviting in for an interview. And so it's really amazing. This is like a concentrated version and a very effective tool for recruiters and decision makers to find talent as opposed to going on monster.com or huge websites which don't necessarily provide the best use of time or energy. The career centers associated with your organization, with your professional society, with the AIP Career Network, with the job sites, this is a place that recruiters highly value. So they're going there specifically to look for talent to invite to interview. And so here's a quick story. A friend of mine, she actually uploaded her resume onto the Career Center website associated with her professional society and the conference itself. And a couple weeks after the conference, she got an email from a recruiter from a huge multinational company saying, I saw your resume on this Career Center website. I see that you have an expertise in X and an expertise in Y. We are specifically looking for somebody to do those things. Would you be interested in having a conversation? And quite frankly, that led to her having that conversation. It led to her getting an interview, and it led to her getting a job. And then it led to her getting a job, being able to negotiate and leverage a job for her spouse in the same company. So now her and her spouse are actually living in the same city, working for the same company, which is the perfect equation end to the two-body problem, right? And she was able to do this all because she had uploaded her resume on that Career Center website. So please take advantage of that resource. It's so fantastic. Now, another set of resources that are available to you, in addition to the conference app, which I want to talk about more in just a moment, is social media. There are a lot of social media resources associated with conferences and professional societies. You know of a few of them. And even if you're not on social media, it's important for you to follow certain social media sites associated with conferences. So let's talk about that, and then I'm going to talk more about the conference app if your organization or conference has one. So what I have found to be most effective when I'm planning my visit, when I'm planning my activities that are going to be taking place at a conference, is even if I didn't, now I'm active on social media. I have a Facebook page, I have a LinkedIn profile, I have a LinkedIn group, I'm on Twitter. But even if you are not and you have a total, a wall against that, consider this. Consider taking the wall down just for the conference. So almost every organization, including all of the organizations associated with the AIP Career Network, have a LinkedIn group. So join the LinkedIn group associated with those organizations because that's where information about the conference is going to be posted. And it can also help you to connect with people in advance of the conference so you can make appointments at the actual conference. Almost all the organizations that I interact with also have a Facebook page that's associated with the conference itself. And so you can join and see what's going on with that. And these groups, the Facebook page, the LinkedIn group, these are where the conference organizers are posting very important information like registration deadlines and housing deadlines and changes to schedules. Like Dr. Levine is not going to be speaking at 8 a.m. Instead, she's going to be speaking at 5 p.m. and she'll be speaking for 10 hours instead of 2. So these are important things to know. The other really important social media resource, and I quite frankly think that this is actually the most important social media resource associated with conferences today, course, this could change tomorrow. Maybe it'll change because one of you will invent a new social media resource. But right now, the most important social media resource associated with conferences that I really highly encourage you to get involved in is Twitter. Twitter is just exploded in terms of conference communications in the last few years. And it's really amazing to me all the value and the valuable and the invaluable information and insight you can get about the conference and the activities associated with the conference just by following the Twitter feed associated with the conference and associated with the society, the professional society that's hosting it. What I have seen on Twitter associated with conferences is people posting things about, this is a great session, you need to get in here right now. This is something cutting edge. They announce new information. They announce press releases. They announce press announcements. They announce changes in activities. They announce new activities. Wow, I have seen activities like networking functions only announced on Twitter. And if I was not on Twitter following that conference hashtag, I would never know that that activity occurred. So these are just some of the things that are on Twitter. And this is why I encourage you just to be on Twitter, just to curate. You don't have to post. I think you should post, and I'm going to talk about posting in a moment. But really, when you know that you're going to be going to a conference, just create a Twitter handle for yourself and then follow the Twitter conference, the Twitter handle for the society, and that's the @ sign, right? At APS Physics, at Physics Today, at IEEE Computer Society, or whatever the Twitter handle is. So follow the Twitter handle for that society, and then start looking for the conference hashtag. And almost every conference has its own conference hashtag, where it allows people to very easily curate content and organize content that would be coming in that would be relevant to that particular conference. So I was in a conference a couple of years ago, actually about 5 years ago, I was in a conference. It's amazing that this was 5 years ago, sitting in a conference, and quite frankly, I was in a session and it was really boring. It was just, the speaker was boring, the subject was boring, I was not getting anything out of it. And I started looking at my Twitter feed about the conference, following the conference hashtag, and I saw that multiple people were posting over and over and over again new information and new tidbits of information that were coming in from a speaker that was in a session that was right next door to my session. And these people were live tweeting. They were live tweeting the speech. And they were saying, this is so great, this person's giving this tip, and they just gave this idea. And you know what? That was my ticket. I said, you know what, I'm going to leave this session, which I'm not getting anything out of it, and I went to the other session, and it was because Twitter guided me. It was because all those people were live tweeting the event, I was able to get that insight. And I went to that session, and it was fantastic, and it really, really helped me in many, many ways. And so this is one of the things that Twitter can provide for you. So join Twitter, follow Twitter, the Twitter handles for your organization, follow the conference hashtag, and then you can be active on Twitter. So you can post as well. But posting on Twitter means you only post positive things. You would never post something negative like this speaker sucks, or this transportation's horrible, or the Wi-Fi is horrible. You're not going to be trash talking anybody or anything or any organization on Twitter. It's all going to be positive things. And a lot of organizations these days have their own Twitter and social media policies and protocols. It's often in the scientific program. It's often in the book. And if you don't know what they are, you can ask. But, you know, I was just at a conference recently where they said in the book, in the program, you are welcome to live tweet somebody's talk if they specifically say so in the conference, in their talk, and they provide you with their Twitter handle. So when I began every one of my talks, I live tweet. I said, here is my Twitter handle, at Alaina G. Levine, and you are welcome to live tweet the talk. And in doing so, quite frankly, it helped to promote my talk to new audiences, and I got new followers. That was useful for me as a speaker. That's an advanced technique that you can take advantage of yourself in the future as you're getting more comfortable with Twitter. But for now, what you can do is you can post, this is a really great talk, or she just said this about, optics and optical tweezers, and this is really interesting, and I think people would really enjoy it. But never, this is boring, this sucks, this is horrible. Don't tweet anything bad like that. And then coming back to the conference app, if you do have a conference app, for the conference that you're attending. This can be often your best friend forever, your BFF. And I want to give you an example of how engaging and interacting with the conference app actually helped me. You know, conference apps are becoming more and more complex and complicated, but in a good way. They're becoming more rich in features. For example, a lot of conference apps allow you to tweet or be active on social media straight from the conference app, so you can actually keep all that information all in one place. The conference apps also have oftentimes listing of all of the attendees that are attending the conference. Even if they don't, a lot of conference websites will list all the attendees, which is really useful information for you to find people to connect with in advance. Well, I was at a conference in Copenhagen last summer, and I was looking at the conference app, and it listed all the people that were attending. And I was just looking at that list by alphabetical order. And I happened to notice that there was this person, John A. or whatever his name was, and he worked for this organization that I was really, really intrigued by and very interested in. And, quite frankly, I would love to do business with. I would love to work with this organization. And so since I saw him on the conference app and I saw that he was at the conference, I was able to send him an in-mail, a message through the conference app saying, hey, I'm here at this conference. This was during the conference. I could have done this before, but I didn't catch it in time, so I did it at the conference. I said, hey, I'm at this conference. I'd love to meet you. Maybe I can take you out for a cup of coffee. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to collaborate. I'm working on this. I see you're working on that, and maybe I can assist you in some way. And he responded very quickly, like within 10 minutes, and said, I'd love to. Let's meet up for coffee. And you know what? That coffee appointment turned into an actual job for me. It turned into a paying opportunity. It was really amazing. And it was so awesome to be able to work with this organization. And who knows where this is going to lead in the future, which is very exciting. And that's why I say the conference app can be your best friend, because it can actually have so many features that you can take advantage of in now and before, during, and even after, that is mostly underutilized. So really go through that conference app and see what's available. And even if the conference app, like I said, doesn't exist, there's always a program online. Take a look at that. So what do you bring to the conference? We want to bring professional attire, okay? So what that means is if you're giving a talk or a poster, wear a suit or something that looks professional. Wear a nice pair of chinos that are pressed. If you're a gentleman, if you're a lady, you can wear a nice skirt if you care to. If a nice jacket, a nice button-down shirt. If you're a student, and you're looking for a job, I recommend wearing a suit or appropriate attire. If you plan on advancing in your career at any point in your career, I recommend wearing professional attire. What that means is, I go to a lot of conferences and I see people coming in wearing shorts and tie-dye t-shirts and tevas and hiking boots. And I've gone to conferences where people come in and they look like they just came in from the field, where they're wearing hiking boots and jeans that are dirty, and they have on like a vest that's carrying like all their stuff that they would use if they were, doing field work outdoors. And that's fine for the group. That's fine for, the lab and the research group and the university. But at a conference, we're going to need to push it up a little bit of a bit. We're going to bring it up a notch. We want to show people that we're very serious about our craft, and that we can take this conference itself very seriously. So especially if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're a student, if you're early in your career, and especially if you're going to be in front of an audience giving a talk or a poster, wear a suit or something related to a suit, a nice dress, a nice pair of pants that are pressed, so people see that you are very serious about this. Now you're going to be walking miles and miles and miles. You're going to lose so much weight with all the miles that you're going to be walking, so don't wear heels. You don't have to wear heels to this. If you're giving a talk, you can put the heels on and then take them off and put on your walking shoes after that. Wear nice flat dress shoes. Preferably not sneakers, because that's a little too casual. We want to be a little bit more formal at the conference event. Now you're going to bring with you business cards. Now your business card doesn't have to have your picture on it, because you are not a real estate agent. If you are a real estate agent, you put your picture on it. But your business card should have your name. It should have what your status is right now. In other words, your station life, PhD candidate, postdoctoral associate, professor, scientist. Tell me if you're getting your PhD, tell me what your PhD is in. You could even say, if you've already gotten your PhD, comma, optical science, optical physics. Then you can list 3 topics or 3 areas of your subfield expertise. So for me, on my business card, it says writer, speaker, career consultant. So when somebody sees the business card, they immediately know what it is that I do, what I'm good at. Then you're going to list your email address, you're going to, a professional email address, of course. You're going to list your phone number, and you could potentially even list your location, but that's not needed because we're all global. We're all global brands, so we don't really need that. But what we do need is your LinkedIn profile if you have one, which you should, or your website. So your contact information, your email, your phone number, and your LinkedIn profile or your website address, and your name and what you're doing right now. And it doesn't have to be with fancy graphics. You can if you want, but it can be just a simple black and white card just with those information, those pieces of information. But do bring them because you'll be handing them out a lot and you'll be asking for business cards. And then what you want to do is you want to prepare yourself with your name tag holder. Now, I know a lot of you pick up your name tag holder at the event itself, but if you happen to get a really great name tag holder, and here's a picture of my name tag holder. This is the name tag holder that I use at every single conference that I attend. So thank you, Physics Today, for this fantastic name tag holder. It's made out of fabric. It wears the test of time. It has multiple pockets in it, so you can see that little notebook. Every time I go to a conference, I bring this name tag holder. I put my fresh name tag in there, obviously. In the top pocket, I put in that little notebook and a pen. I double check that the pen works, of course. And then in the back, there's other pockets where I put my name tags, where I put my business cards. And then as I'm meeting with people, as I'm talking with people, let's say I'm walking down the exhibit hall floor and I start chatting with somebody, I can pull out my notepad and my pen and I can quickly jot down notes. And I can quickly grab my business cards to give one to somebody. And because I have that pocket, I can put the business card that I just collected from that other party right in there. Now, even if you don't have a fancy-dancy one like this, the plastic one that you get, you can still put in a couple of sheets of paper, you can attach a pen, and you can attach your business cards, put that in the pocket of the plastic. And that is such a great way to have everything there ready to go, ready to use and utilize as you're networking and interacting with people. Now, you should bring your resume and your CV with you, but I say be careful with this because you're not going to necessarily be handing it out at mixers, right? At mixers, it's best to hand out a business card because I'm at a mixer, I'm holding a glass of champagne and escargot. I don't have an extra hand to hold onto your resume or CV, so it's going to go under my armpit, and that's not where you want your resume or CV to go. It should not go under my armpit. So, but your business card you can easily hand to me, and I can put that in my pocket or my name tag holder. So you bring your resume or CV, and you can even bring it on your tablet, and if somebody asks for it, you can hand it to them. But it's not going to be something that you're going to be handing out like candy. And you can bring your tablet, and what I like to do with my tablet is, or my cell phone, is I load up my resume and CV up on it as I'm going to the convention center, so that if I do run into somebody that I want to show them something quickly on my CV, I can quickly pull it up. I can even pull up simulations, documents, papers, things like that I want to have at my fingertips. So if I do run into Dr. God in the hallway and I want to engage her and I want to show her, hey, let me show you the simulation of these optical tweezers, I can quickly pull that video up and show her, because that's really great to be able to do that. I'm also going to bring with me, a great attitude. This is a happy moment. This is exciting. This is wonderful. A privilege to be able to go to a conference and interact with peers and colleagues and leaders in your field. So this is not a chore. This is a happy day. So I want you to come with a positive attitude because people really respond to that positivity. They respond to you when you walk into a mixer, when you walk into a talk, and you're smiling and you're engaging and you're looking people in their eye as they're speaking with you as opposed to texting. This shows people, it opens the door for more conversation and more career possibility. I also like to bring with me pre-registration materials. So if the conference allows me to pre-print my name tag, maybe they send it to me via email in advance, or they allow me to go to their website to pre-print it, do that, because you don't want to be standing on line too long. Although the line for registration itself can be a networking node, it can be a way to start networking with people, right? You're standing on line. You can talk about how long the line is, and it's nice to meet you, and what do you do? That's useful. But if there's another event that's happening at the same time that would give you better return on your investment, wouldn't it be better just to be able to have your name tag already printed and go to that event rather than have to stand on the line. So just something to think about. So while at the conference, I'm going to go to the exhibit hall with my business cards. I'm going to get those ready. I'm going to hang out at the student lounge if there is one, or the early career lounge if there is one, the career center if there is one. I'm going to mosey through the poster farm. I'm going to follow the Twitter feed and contribute to it as I feel comfortable about it. And then another thing, and you've seen this because you've been going to conferences for years, you know that even in this day and age of social media, there is still almost always a physical message board that is there at the conference. And I always will go to that message board at least once a day, mostly twice a day, to just look and see what people have posted on that message board, because they post flyers, they post job announcements, they post announcements about events that have not been advertised yet, that are not in the program. They even could post tweets or information about following Twitter feeds, like follow this, follow me. They post information about all sorts of different things that would be useful for you. And quite frankly, you yourself could even post something there too. And that's something that's an advanced tactic that you could post. For example, if you're giving a poster, you could pre-print out an announcement about your poster or your talk, and you could put it on that message board, which is really good. While at the conference, you're going to watch your alcohol intake. Doesn't mean you don't have to drink. If you enjoy that, if that's something that you like to do, you're welcome to do that. But remember, you're not there to get wasted. You're there to engage, to network, to learn. So we're going to watch our alcohol intake very carefully. And unlike our undergraduate years, where all we wanted was free food, this conference is not about the food. So do partake, do eat, because quite frankly, at conferences, there's so much to do, you often run out of time to eat. So take advantage of food when it's there, but you don't want to stuff your face, and you don't want to be seen stuffing your face. You want to be seen networking. It's more important to network and to engage and to go to the talks than it is to, have a 7-course meal that's provided for you for free. Couple of thoughts on proactive networking. Remember, networking is not me meeting you and then never talking to you again. Networking is a spectrum of activities that begins with that first point of contact, in this case at the conference, and it continues over a lifetime. It engages me and encourages me to want to learn more about you. We're trying to build a win-win partnership. What can I do for you just as much as what you can do for me? And it's value-driven. So how can we both provide value to each other in myriad ways, with the relationship only ending when one or both of us drops dead? So that's networking, right? It's the spectrum of activities. So we're going to act. We're not going to wait for somebody to introduce themselves to me. If we see somebody that we want to meet, we're going to go up and introduce ourselves to them. We're going to take advantage of the many, many, many opportunities at the conference to network. We're going to go up, we're going to smile at the person, shake their hands, say my name, and then I'm going to say your name, because I want to make sure that I heard the pronunciation of your name correctly. And also, it could be very noisy. I might not have heard you. And I myself might be nervous, so I might be speaking very fast. Sometimes when I'm at a conference, I'm so excited to meet you, I say my name, hi, I'm Alaina Levine. And you're like, I'm sorry, what was your first name? Alaina Levine? Is that your full first name? So I need to be quiet, or not quiet, I need to be succinct, and I need to put in spaces, and I need to be a little bit more slow in how I introduce myself. Hi, my name is Alaina Levine, so that you can hear it. And similarly, if I don't hear your name, I'm going to ask back, oh, I'm sorry, what was your name again? I didn't hear. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. That's respectful. I'm going to look you in the eye as I do it. And then you can ask an opening line. What is your first time at the conference? What do you think? What talks are you enjoying? What's your area of expertise? Where do you work? What do you do? How did you get into that? And then that'll start the conversation and it'll fuel it. Couple of advanced tips for networking and being proactive in your networking at the conferences. I love this tip. Expiration networking, I call it, right? Because there's an expiration date and time. You're going to be attending a lot of talks. So what you can do is you can build into your schedule, and you should do this. Build into your schedule an extra 10 minutes before each talk. So don't show up if the talk is at 10 a.m. Don't show up at 10 a.m. Don't show up at 10:05. Show up at 9:50, 10 minutes before the talk. And you'll be in a room that's pretty much empty, right? There'll be a couple of people scattered in the room. They're going to be early attendees as well. This gives you an opportunity to network with somebody, to talk to them, and there's an expiration date and time. And that expiration time is when the speaker starts to speak. So for those of you that are newbie networkers, that are new at networking, neophytes, that maybe feel a little bit discomfort in introducing yourself to somebody and having a conversation and feeling like, how do we end it? This gives you excellent practice. So you show up early, you sit near, not right next to somebody. I mean, if it was an empty hall and there's only one other person waiting there, you're not going to go and sit next to them because you're not a stalker. Okay, you are a classy scientist. But what you can do is sit near them, sit a couple of seats away, and then you can say, hi, my name is. And then you can talk with them for the 10 minutes before the speaker begins. And when the speaker begins, you can whisper to them, Alaina, it was so nice to meet you. Can I get your business card? Let's follow up in the next few weeks. I'd love to talk to you more. And that's it. You're done. You finished your networking. You finished your engagement. And now you will follow up later. But thank goodness, for those of you that are new to this, you don't have to spend time thinking about what else can we talk about, because you only have that 10 minutes. It's like speed networking. It's like speed dating. It's so great. So do take advantage of coming to the conference talks early so that you can take advantage of that expiration networking. And the other thing that you should do is go up to the speaker at the end. You could do this at the beginning too, but quite frankly, the speakers are getting ready for their talks and they're kind of, focused on that. But they're less worried and they're more relaxed when the talk is over. So what I like to do is I like to go up to the speaker at the end. I introduce myself. I'm not going to engage them for an hour because there's probably going to be other people waiting. There might be people waiting to get into the room, new speakers waiting to get into the room. But I'm going to go up to the speaker and I'm going to say, hi, my name is, I really enjoyed your talk for this reason. Maybe I'm going to ask them a quick follow-up, a very quick follow-up question, and then I'm going to ask for their contact information or their business card and say, I'd love to talk to you more about this. Can I follow up with you in a few weeks? And believe me, people don't do that as much as they should. They don't introduce themselves to the speaker because they are intimidated, but you're not going to be intimidated because you are brave, amazing scientists and engineers. So you're going to have also another advanced tactic that you can do is with your business cards, they should pull double duty. And what I mean by this, especially those of you that are giving, if you're giving a talk or if you're giving a poster, put a sticker on the back of all the business cards that you're bringing with you that lists the date, the time, the location, and the talk title of your talk or poster. So that when you are exchanging business cards with people, you can say, oh, by the way, I'd love to invite you to my poster. Here's the information on the back of my card. Here's where it's located. And you could even include one of those codes that people could use to download to get more information, maybe the abstract. And you'll have that there so that people would be able to think about you and they'll be more reminded. They'll be reminded of your talk or your poster and they're more likely to come. During lunches at the conference or even at nearby lunch restaurants, especially at nearby restaurants, everybody's walking out to get food. They're still wearing their name tags. So if you see somebody sitting alone at a restaurant with a name tag from your conference, nothing wrong with you going up to them and saying, is anybody sitting here? Do you mind if I join you? It takes guts to do that, but believe me, I've done that, and I've been able to get opportunities that I wouldn't have even expected. And especially when people are sitting along the hallway during lunchtime, eating lunch or checking their email, you can just say, hey, do you mind if I join you? Sit down with them, and you can start a conversation with them where they're sitting. And then another thought to think about, and I keep mentioning Dr. God, right? The Dr. God is the person that is at the center of the field. Everybody orbits around him or her. And, when Dr. God walks down the hall, especially if she's by herself, this is an amazing opportunity. This is a fleeting opportunity that you must take advantage of right now. Dr. God may not have time to talk to you later, but if she's by herself right now, you can quickly run up to her and say, excuse me, Dr. God. Of course, don't call her Dr. God. Use her formal name. Dear Dr. Levine, and say, hi, my name is, I'm a graduate student at the University of Arizona. I'm studying X and Y. I'm really looking forward to your talk later. I really like what you have to say. Would it be possible for me to follow up with you in a couple of weeks? So it's a 30-second introduction, a 30-second hello, I'd love to meet you and talk to you more. If you want to ask her, can I take you out for a cup of coffee? You can say that. If she's running, obviously you're not going to do that, but you could say, can I follow up with you after the conference? And most likely she's going to say yes. So do grab those Dr. God moments while you can because they're fleeting. And I've seen lots of Dr. Gods at conferences that I don't physically grab them. I want to be clear about that. I'm not grabbing them. But, I see Dr. God walking down the hall, and, this happened at the University of Arizona. This wasn't a conference, but Steve Forbes came to speak at the University of Arizona, which is my alma mater, many years ago, and I saw him at the top of the stairs looking for something, and I just ran up the stairs and I screamed, "Hey, Steve!" And he stopped and turned around, and I matched his pace. He was walking very fast, but I matched his pace, and I introduced myself, and I said, "Hello, it's nice to meet you, and I'd love to talk to you about some things." And I asked him, I even pitched him the idea of writing an article about him, and he said, "Great." And I said, "Can I get your business card?" And he said he didn't have one, so I gave him mine and a pen, and I said, "Could you write me your email address?" Which he did. And then I gave him my business card, and then I said, "Thank you so much. I'll see you soon at your talk. I'm looking forward to hearing it." And then I stopped, and I let him continue on to where he was going. And where was he going? Where does Alaina draw the line? He was going into the men's room. So I'm not going to follow Dr. God if he's a male into the men's room, and I don't think you should do that either. But I did match his pace to make sure that I could make his acquaintance, and then I stopped at that point. But quite frankly, for those of you who are ladies, I was at a conference recently that has 26,000 people in attendance, and of course, because it's a ladies' room, there's a ladies' room there, there's probably like one added for 26,000 people, there was a long line in the ladies' room. And I ended up having a conversation with somebody online in the ladies' room about the possibility of working together, and we exchanged business cards, and we're going to get together and talk about that. So this is an opportunity that was fleeting. I seized it. I seize these opportunities all the time, and you can do this too, and it's just such a great opportunity. A couple of thoughts about posters. Poster is not simply a poster. A poster can provide you with really amazing networking opportunities. Remember, a poster is a summary of your research findings. It's a graphically enhanced abstract. It entices others to learn more, engages you, engages the audience. It markets yourself. It advertises your problem-solving abilities. And essentially, it is an invitation to network and form alliances. So when you are building buzz about your poster or your talk, what you want to do is tweet it. Use the conference hashtag. Post it on the group's Facebook and LinkedIn page. Email potential collaborators the invitation, and email it the poster itself if you want. And if they can't make it, send them the PDF so they can see it. And when people approach you when you're at your poster, engage them, smile at them. You have the advantage because you have something to talk about. You can explain things on the poster. So have copies of the poster to hand out, have business cards, and you can even have a sign-up sheet so you can capture their information right then and there for more information. A final really high-level advanced tactic for conferences is volunteering. Again, just like a lot of these tactics that we've talked about today, most people do not take advantage of them. So when you do, you give yourself a competitive advantage. Volunteering at conferences is the secret treasure. It is the platinum of conference networking opportunities. When you volunteer to help at a conference, you get access to leaders, you get access to the staff within the professional society, you elevate your brand, you amplify your reputation, you learn about the inner workings of the organization, you learn about the decision makers in the field, you learn about the hot topics in the field and the industry. It gives you so much access to information and data that you can't get otherwise, and the networking itself is just extraordinary. So when conferences have the opportunity, when they say volunteers, volunteer, because you might even get a day or two of registration for free. And quite frankly, when you volunteer and you're helping somebody, that person is going to be helpful. They're going to be wanting to help you. Like when I speak at conferences, there's almost always a volunteer person in the room with me, a volunteer like room monitor who helps me. And I remember I was giving a talk, and just as my talk was about to begin, my computer crashed. And the student who was volunteering, ran across the convention center in lightning speed to get me a new computer and saved the day, launched it, put it all together, saved the day for me. And wow, not only did I call him out and ask for a round of applause for him, from the audience, but I'm going to be indebted to him. If he comes to me later and says, Alaina, would it be possible for you to help me or to give me some advice? I'm going to help him because he was so helpful to me. And that's one of the ways that volunteering at a conference can be useful. And even if you don't see a sign that says looking for volunteers, ask if you can volunteer. because sometimes the conferences will allow it even if they're not advertising it. That's an opportunity that you can create yourself. So it's really great. Some thoughts about following up. We're going to send emails to the people that we meet. And if it's appropriate, like if they had a coffee appointment with us, if they spent extra time with us, we're going to send actual thank you notes. We're going to stay in touch, follow up as appropriate, and then we're going to make plans to attend our next conference with even more confidence and more contacts that we already know. So in conclusion, the amount of value that you get out of a conference is directly related to how much energy and value and time you put into planning for it, attending proactively, not passively, participating, engaging people. This is really, really important. So we're going to research the conference and prepare in advance. We're going to build a plan with flexibility so that if we do meet a Dr. God, we have time to go meet with him or her. If we find out about a new session that's on the other side of the convention center, we can go to do that. If we end up spending extra time talking to an exhibitor that we didn't even anticipate we'd find interest in, we want to be able to do that. And even if you miss a talk, don't meet a person, or can't attend the conference itself, you can still gain value because the conference program is right there online. So you can email Dr. Levine and say, you know what, Dr. Levine, even though I can't attend this conference this year, I'm very interested in what you have to say. Would it be possible to make an informal appointment with you to talk to you about it? You can do that. People do that. I use conferences, even the conferences I don't attend, as a way to network with people, as a way to find people to network with. And then we're going to follow up. So a couple of resources for you before I take a few questions. The Careers Toolbox for parentheses undergraduate physics students. I say parentheses because this resource is so useful and it extends beyond the undergraduate students. So it's actually, in my opinion, useful for any physics student, and quite frankly, anybody who studied physical sciences or anything related to that beyond undergraduate years. You will find this useful. It helps you with career planning. It gives you ideas of what career paths you can take. It gives you all sorts of data. It's so useful. So definitely take advantage of this, whether you're an undergraduate, a graduate student, a postdoc, 10 years out, 50 years out, 1,000 years out. I think it's still going to be useful. The next thing there is the Physics Today career column that I write. So take a look at that. And of course, my book, Networking for Nerds, which came out this year. This is also a really great, fantastic, wonderful, best-selling book, right, of course, that you can take advantage of with all sorts of details about networking. And I have a whole section on conferences, which goes into even more detail than what we had today. Here's the survey. You're going to get an email with, by the way, you're going to get an email from me with all those resources as well as the survey. We want to know your feedback. We want to know your suggestions for improving these webinars, for getting new ideas for webinars. So please fill out the survey and let us know what you think. And we have an upcoming webinar, one more for the year, Transitioning Your Career Beyond Academia, on November 5th. And you'll be informed about this through a number of different channels. So I hope you can join us. Please mark your calendars now. With that, I want to thank you so much. This is an honor and a privilege and such a delight to speak with you today and to work with you on conference planning and getting as much as you can out of conferences and giving as much as you can as well. If I can help you in the future, please let me know. Let's connect through these different channels. And before we end, I just want to thank again the AIP Career Network and all of its partners for the support that they provide in offering these professional development and career advancement webinars. They are there to help you succeed just as much as I'm here to help you succeed. So take advantage of their resources, leverage your associations with your professional societies, and really help them help you. So I wish you the very best in your career adventures. Of course, no need to wish you luck because you don't need it, but I do want you to know that I'm looking forward to hearing about your career success. So thank you so much. And now I'm going to take a couple of questions, and for the questions that I don't get a chance to answer, as a reminder, this is being recorded. You'll be able to see this webinar on YouTube very soon, and I'm going to be writing a Physics Today career column about this subject where I'm going to be answering your questions anonymously in that career column. So stay tuned for that as well. So here are some of the questions. Let's take a look at what people had to ask, and we have some really good questions. And somebody asked, it's a great question, why would we only provide positive feedback on Twitter? Thank you for asking that question. So we want to be seen in our community as a positive person as somebody with a good attitude, somebody who is looking to contribute positive value to the organization and to the community, as opposed to somebody who wants to trash talk it, somebody who wants to be negative all the time. And when you are negative in a public forum like Twitter, people see that and they could associate the negativity that you are discussing with you. And that's what we never want to have. We only want to have positive connotations associated with you, positive information associated with you. So we want to be positive. So even if you thought the speaker sucked, don't tweet that. That's not appropriate to do that. That's inappropriate, it's rude, and it's offensive. And it gives, quite honestly, it puts you in a bad light in the community. So only do tweet positive things on Twitter. So somebody asked, another question is, wouldn't sending an email a month in advance to an invited speaker be too early? Should we maybe send a reminder or something like that before the conference? The reason I said, thank you for that question, the reason I said a month in advance is because by about 2 weeks in advance, that speaker already has, the speaker or that person probably has their schedule already intact. They might not, some people do wait until the last week, but giving them a month gives them a little bit of time to start thinking about where you could fit in their schedule, especially if they have a very busy schedule. So I don't think that that's too early at all. If they don't respond, you can always follow up within 2 weeks. That's not a problem at all. But I don't think it's too early at all, and I think you should do it. And you can send them a reminder just before the conference, and you should send them a confirmation, like I'm looking forward to meeting you at the Starbucks on the corner of 5th and 2nd tomorrow at 11 a.m. You should definitely do that. Somebody asked, this is another question, this will be the last question for today, but like I said, I'm going to be putting all these other questions in that career column that I read for physics today. This is a great question. Can you take photographs with people you network with or who are in leadership positions in your profession? So I'm going to break, that's a great question, I'm going to break that into two answers. So one answer would be people that are giving talks. Can you take a picture of somebody who's giving a talk? And if they're standing up there, unless they specifically say no photographs, generally there's a open photo. Most meetings have an open photograph policy. You can double check that. Most meetings will have their photography protocol listed on the program, listed in the program, listed on the online program, and even on the app. So you can take a look at that. But if it's a default of being an open photography, then as a person in the audience, you could potentially take a picture if the speaker says it's okay. If you meet, Dr. God or the head of Los Alamos at a networking mixer, I would not say, excuse me, Dr. God, do you mind if we take a picture together? Because it's just a little bit not appropriate for this community. They're not a celebrity. It's not, it almost gives the wrong impression that you're more interested in meeting them because of their celebrity within the community, as opposed to wanting to learn how you could potentially help them, which is the cornerstone of networking. So I would stay away from those types of photographs. It's just, every person's a little bit different. They might get a kick out of it, but they also might think that it's a little inappropriate. So you could ask, but I would stay, in general, just stay away from that idea. But it was a great question to ask. So with that, like I said, we have a lot of questions, but we're out of time. So I'm going to answer the rest of these anonymously on Physics Today. And if you have any other questions for me, you can email me and I'll answer those anonymously as well. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you at the next conference and at the next webinar in November, of course. But if you are at a conference that I'm going to be at, come by, say hello to me. I won't be Dr. God. I will be happy to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your career, adventures, and successes at conferences and beyond. Thank you so much. Thank you, AIP Career Network, and everybody have a wonderful day, and enjoy your networking and enjoy your next conference. This concludes the webinar.